how to stop being the capable but unreliable entrepreneur, and finally turn your accelerated dynamic hyperdrive into a reliable operating system. Without white-knuckling your way through discipline, buying another planner you'll never use, or beating yourself up for not being normal. If you're watching this, you probably have a big brain. You've got big ideas, bursts of incredible energy, and people probably tell you all the time how much potential you have. But on the inside, it feels different. On the inside, you feel like you're constantly ghosting your own goals. You start strong with that massive surge of excitement, and then you just vanish. You operate on a whim, unable to run consistently under your own ability, and that quiet realization that people can't fully rely on you is starting to kill you. I'm here to tell you, you aren't lazy. You aren't a screw up, and you definitely don't need more discipline. What you have is accelerated dynamic hyperdrive. And today, I'm going to show you how to build a brain-friendly operating system around that drive so you can finish what matters, feel competent instead of chaotic, and become the person others can genuinely rely on without burning out. And it's not just me who has figured out how to bridge the gap between brilliant and reliable. Some of the top professionals and founders I work with are finally plugging their momentum leaks and trusting themselves again. These are people who were once stuck in the halo pattern chronic inconsistency, too many ideas, and late night shame spirals who are now running their businesses with a system that actually fits their wiring. So, who is Jeff Levine? I'm the chief strategist for ADHD for Dr. Get in Focus. I've spent years helping smart, driven professionals navigate the unique challenges of the ADHD brain. But I'm not just a strategist or a coach. I've been able to hand develop the MBA trademark framework, a specific methodology designed for accelerated dynamic hyperdrive brains. Help hundreds of entrepreneurs move from whim-based productivity to system-based reliability. Bridge the gap between ADHD knowledge and real-world entrepreneurial execution. I bring a mix of systems thinking from an engineering background, real-world marketing experience, and as you'll notice, a bit of humor to keep the shame down and the engagement up. Because let's be honest, if dry, clinical advice worked for us, we would have been fixed years ago. But not that long ago, things were completely different. I was trying to use tools that weren't built for me. I was trying to run a neurotypical software on a hyperdrive hardware. It was like trying to outrun a car on foot. No matter how much effort I put in, I couldn't keep up because the vehicle was wrong. What changed for me is one day I came across a realization. ADHD isn't a discipline problem. It's an operating system problem. I realized that my brain wasn't broken. It was just fast, intense, and multi-threaded. It was great at pattern recognition and crisis handling, but terrible at boring repetition and fake deadlines. Once I stopped trying to be more disciplined and started building an operating system that matched my wiring, everything changed. I started finishing things, not by white-knuckling it, but because I had a system that quietly supported me. I became someone my family, my clients, and my team could count on. The shame vanished, replaced by a sense of ownership. We need to stop calling it just ADHD in a negative sense and start seeing it for what it is: accelerated dynamic hyperdrive. Think of it like this. Most productivity advice is written for a brain that focuses in straight lines and likes routine. That's a sedan. It's reliable. It goes from A to B. It's fine. Your brain? Your brain is a high-performance jet engine. A jet engine is incredible, but you can't drive it down a suburban cul-de-sac using a driver's ed manual. If you try to treat a jet like a sedan, you're going to crash. You don't need more discipline to drive the jet. You need a flight manual and a cockpit designed for high speed. The stats back this up. Traditional to-do lists and time blocking fail for neurodivergent entrepreneurs because they don't account for the wave-based nature of our attention. Now, to set proper expectations, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This isn't a magic pill that will make your ADHD disappear overnight. If you're looking for a way to suddenly become a boring, linear, normal person who loves filing paperwork, this isn't for you. This requires work. It requires the willingness to experiment and the courage to stop beating yourself up. But if you are a bright, creative professional who is tired of feeling like a mess, this is the most achievable way to finally gain control. This is how we turn chaos into a repeatable operating system. We use the MBA framework. The first step isn't a new app. It's dismantling the quiet shame. We move you from I'm lazy/scattered to I run a different OS. We stop the brain from fighting itself before you even start the day. If you believe you're broken, you'll act broken. When you realize you're just misconfigured, you can start to optimize. Next, we replace guilt-based habits with routines that actually fit your wiring. No 37-step morning routines here. We focus on designing how you start your day so energy goes where it needs to, translating huge, scary goals into tiny, brain-friendly steps. Building rhythms that work with your seasons of attention, not a linear grind. Finally, we create structure that feels like a safety net, not a cage. We use promises lists that you can actually keep and light touch check-ins to prevent you from drifting for weeks at a time. This is about becoming reliable because your system supports you, not because you're white-knuckling a deadline at 3 a.m. At this point, you probably still have questions like, can I really change after years of being this way? What if I've tried every planner and app already? How does this actually fit into my specific business? I want to help you answer those questions personally. I'm inviting you to book a Clarity Kickstart session. This isn't a high-pressure sales call. It's the front door to my deeper work. In 30 focused minutes, we will zoom in on exactly where your momentum is leaking right now. Cut through the noise and overthinking that's keeping you paralyzed. Sketch a simple, realistic 7-day plan that fits your specific wiring. We'll use this session to see if the ADHD Success Mastery Program is the right fit for you. If the session is enough for now, you leave with a plan. If the patterns we uncover are bigger than one session, we can talk about building your full operating system together. Think about it this way. Worst case scenario, you spend 30 minutes with me, you get a clear roadmap of your momentum leaks, and you walk away with a 7-day experiment to try on your own. You lose nothing. Best case scenario, you finally find the flight manual for your jet engine brain. You stop the shame spirals. You start finishing the projects that actually matter. You become the leader, the founder, and the partner that people can actually count on. You move from operating on a whim to operating with mastery. Don't let this be another thing you start and then vanish on. Click the button below, book your Clarity Kickstart session, and let's turn that hyperdrive into your greatest asset. I'll see you on the call.